I'm really honored, thrilled and honored to be here today as a representative of Crossroads as we unveil our strategic plan. And at the end, a little surprise. We'll call that a teaser alert. Let me say a couple words about the process before we begin. The process and the culmination of our strategic plan has really been a long process. It's been a rewarding process, a heady process, and it's really personally really helped me understand Crossroads and Crossroads community extremely well. This process traversed my whole tenure here at Crossroads, and again, it's been a really heady and rewarding experience. But before we actually begin in earnest today and talking specifically about the strategic plan, there are many thank yous that need to go around. Before I embark on that list, I do want to say that if I do leave anybody out, my apologies in advance. So some of the important folks that we want to make sure that we thank for this strategic plan include the Doug Fleet Jr. Foundation. Their capacity building grant allowed us the resources to be able to actually embark on this process and with the culmination of the product. Savita Strategies, and in particular Gary Romano, they were our consultants in this process. They helped guide us along in ways that are immeasurable. Thank you, Savita Strategies. Our senior management team, they were instrumental, supportive to me, supportive to the organization, instrumental in being able to pull this off. Our strategic planning team, which consisted of our senior management team, as well as Vice Chair of a Board of Trustees, Greg Firth. Greg, thank you very much for your invaluable contributions to this process. I want to thank all the Board of Trustees, many of whom are here today. Thank you all for your help, support, keeping us in our lanes and envisioning future lanes for us. Thank you again. I want to thank community members, all of you. I want to thank constituents. I want to thank individuals who were interviewed as part of this process. Your contributions, again, invaluable. Really were such that we could not have made the strategic plan come to fruition without you. So thank you all. I want to thank our hero sponsors: Healthcare, Middlesex Savings Bank, Modular Concepts, Heinemann, and two new hero sponsors, Exceedance and Greenport Capital Advisors. Exceedance and Greenport, welcome to the fold. We are loving our partnership with you, and we think it has the seeds of paving the way for great things to come, not only for us at Crossroads, but hopefully you all as well. Thank you. So without further ado, let's talk about our strategic plan. Let me say a couple more words before we talk mission and vision. We decided as an organization that we needed to ultimately come up with a strategic plan that was going to be worth its weight. Okay, worth its weight. We did not want to come up with a strategic plan left somewhere in the bookcase that we pointed to only when a funding source or a donor or a government agency asked us to pull it out for something more specific to look at or to assess. We really wanted to develop a strategic plan that really could be a framework, a blueprint for growth and development of Crossroads beginning in 2021 and beyond. And we think we've come up with that. Ultimately, you all will be the judges of that, but we think we have come up with that. In terms of the specifics of our strategic plan, any strategic plan, as you all know, starts with a mission and vision statement. especially for a not-for-profit organization like Crossroads. As you can see from our mission and vision statement, compared to previous mission and vision statements of the organization, this one is somewhat expanded. Okay? It's expanded beyond education and clinical supports. It's expanded to include individuals, younger individuals, and adults with autism and related disorders. We really believe that this mission and vision statement not only reflects our values, but also reflects where we're headed as an organization, and that being a multi-service organization, where we have the capability to be able to serve many more individuals with autism and related disorders. Services that are truly needed across the community. Our principles of design in terms of our strategic plan. Okay. Any endeavor we embark upon, whether that's the development of further programs, okay, really has to consider seriously these important considerations. Quality, okay, reliance on evidence-based practices, balancing quality with quantity, advancing in a direction that's clear, concise, and consistent with our vision, mission, and values. Has to be worth the time. Okay? Any endeavor we embark on has to be worth the time to devote resources to. And we want to really apply a diversity, equity, and inclusion framework to all of what we do, especially moving forward. Our strategic plan, again, as I made reference to a minute ago, we wanted it to be tight, we wanted it to be cogent, we wanted to define goals that were doable, okay? And we've come up with three, I think, very doable goals. First goal, we've called an impact goal. And that goal is really become a multi-service organization, having the ability to serve more individuals with autism and related disorders from birth into adulthood. That's really our first goal. So what does that really mean? Well, that means we need to develop ancillary and complementary programming services that will provide those resources to the autism community, whether those services be early intervention services, whether those services be center-based services, expansion of our home services footprint throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and adult services. So we really want to see ourselves organizationally as something in addition to being a top-notch educational and clinical service provider for students with autism, a multi-service, community-focused organization that can service lots of individuals with autism and related disorders. Retain, goal 2. We all know that our staff and employees are the foundation of what we do now and moving into the future. Okay? Now and moving into the future. We believe that that's so important that we've identified a specific goal in our strategic plan around that. We want to keep the talent that we have. We want to recruit talented individuals, not only for our school program, but also for other programs we're in the process of developing. Okay? We want to retain these individuals. We want to be able to evaluate them successfully. Okay? We want to be able to promote and give them opportunities. We want to mentor them. We want to support them. Okay? We believe if we can do all of these things, we really have the potential of being an organization that can attract the top talent in the state of Massachusetts and maybe beyond. Goal 3, sustainability. We need to ensure the sustainability of the organization. We all know that goal 1 is part of this goal. We also know that goal 2 is part of this goal. But in addition to goal 1 and goal 2, goal 3 further explicates what we need to do as an organization to make sure that we continue to be viable. And that explication includes really 2 areas. Board development. Our board of trustees are fundamental to what we do. As I mentioned at the outset, they keep us in our lanes and they help us envision future lanes that we can explore or embark on. We need to increase members of our board, talented members like what we have currently, who can offer expertise to us as a human service organization, as well as potentially have the ability to give. That's going to be important around the sustainability of our organization. Equally important is our development department. We need to have a greater focus as a development department on donor development. Moving forward, our development department will be more keenly focused on that area as we move forward. We believe these 3 goals make Crossroads viable. We believe that these 3 goals allow us to do the incredibly good things that Crossroads has done for many years, the contributions it's made to the community, and additionally, it gives us an opportunity to expand our service delivery models so we can serve more individuals with autism and related disorders. I am truly, truly excited about that and about that possibility. Earlier, I teed up something, okay? For those of you who've had the opportunity to read our strategic plan, I want you to focus for a minute on goal 3, strategy 3. Goal 3, strategy 3. We believe that our current brand, Crossroads School, does not adequately reflect where we're headed vis-a-vis the strategic plan. As such, I want to today unveil our new name organizationally, Crossroads Continuum. We believe that this new name of our organization better reflects where we're headed as an organization. An organization that is multi-service, that can provide a continuum of services and care to individuals with autism and related disorders from birth through adulthood. So what does that mean for our current programs? Well, it doesn't mean anything in terms of name or moniker. Crossroads School remains Crossroads School, part of Crossroads Continuum. Crossroads Community Solutions, the same, part of Crossroads Continuum. I'm so excited about this. Again, I really think this name change opens up opportunities for us moving forward, and it really reflects where we're headed as an organization. So with that said, I'm going to stop and see if you have any questions, any comments, any remarks.
If you have any questions, you can either put them in the chat or feel free to unmute yourselves or put your name in the chat and I will unmute you. For those of us who are on Zoom, we'd love to hear from you, hear your impressions and your questions.
It's too loud.
Jill, did you have a comment or question? You're unmuted, so that's why.
Hi, Jill Durand, or is there another Jill?
I have Jill Ricardo and Jill Durand, and you both
sorry,
unmuted, so you're both welcome to share.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was unmuted.
The more Jills, the merrier.
I'll make a comment, Kelly, both as a board member and a parent of a former student who's Ethan's about to age out. Actually, in 22, he had moved on to the Guild for Residential, and I'm excited. You know, since my participation in Crossroads has been now almost 12 years and on the board the whole time, I'm really excited with the direction we're going. This is exactly why the committee chose Mark, and I think he is taking us in the right direction and supporting all the efforts that both the day school are making with under Kevin's management and Rachel's hard work on our consulting group. And I think it just really allows us to share our talents with a much broader group of people, which as a parent with someone on the spectrum and having, you know, participated with Autism Speaks, we know how big the spectrum is. And, you know, it allows us to keep the school at the size that we like, that's, you know, very family oriented and focused on our children and staff and having the right ratios while still providing services to the broader range of the spectrum, whether that's school age, post 22, potentially preschool age. It just really allows us to use our talents and all the skills that make Crossroads with a larger group and share it with more families and, you know, support us in different ways. It allows us to expand fundraising. It allows us to expand grant opportunities. I just think it's a great direction that not only expands all these things, but even more reinforces and secures the school that we care about at the moment. So I'm very excited about what's happening and Mark's leadership and all the participation from our senior staff, and ready to get going on this plan.
Albert, thank you very much. I think that was so well said, well put. Thank you.
So we do have a question in the chat, and it is from a former parent, and the question is, when will you have adult services up and running? Jack misses Crossroads, and side note, for me personally, we miss Jack too, so no pressure, Mark.
No pressure at all. I assume this is somebody who I've done the Mondays with Mark with?
Yes.
Just a lucky guess. We are in process right now of moving forward. It's really hard to say with the environment we're in, i.e. pandemic, when that might occur. With DDS and Mass Health, it's going to them being the major funders of programming like this, but we are in process. I've had some preliminary discussions already with both funding entities about this possibility. I'm confident that we are moving in that direction. I wish I could say for certain exactly when, but really in the very near future.
Thank you, John, for your question. Thank you, Mark. The next question is about staff retention. So wondering what type of retention is needed and in the works for current and future staff.
Well, retention is, you know, it's an issue everywhere currently. The pandemic has not helped that for obvious reasons, which is really, really mandated that we come up with different kind of way of conceptualizing recruitment, retention, obviously, and et cetera. We're hoping our strategic plan really helps forward that movement. You know, right now, if we look at our different programming, you know, Crossroads School is nearly fully staffed at this point in time. We have a new incoming class coming in. It's our hope that this is going to be a great class of new recruits, class that we can do all the things we want to do in terms of in terms of retention. With Crossroads Solutions, we are transitioning to a different model in terms of staffing. And we're in process right now of changing our recruiting practices around that. So that's a work in progress right now. Suffice it to say, I'm really excited about where we're headed in terms of recruitment and ultimately retention.
Leslie, did you have something you wanted to ask or say? I had muted you because he was talking, but you're more than welcome to unmute if you did have a question or a comment. I don't have anything else in the chat right now, so feel free to put a message, comment, question in the chat if you're on Zoom with us. I'm certainly happy to address those. And again, thank you all for participating with us today, for celebrating with us. We're very excited to be on this journey with you.
Yes, I want to echo Kelly's thank you here. Thank you so much. Again, we cannot do this without all of you. You are, like our staff, the backbones of what we do. So thank you all for being part of our very special community here. And potentially, you know, we're going to see an expansion of that community as we head in the direction of developing programs and services consistent with our mission, vision, and values. Thank you very much.
Looks like Laura Price has something to say.
I just was hoping to chime in at the end. Like, I'm the person that everybody hates because you think you're getting off the call and then someone swoops in at the last second and says something. But I just wanted to thank Mark so much for your leadership on this. And I'm super excited about some of the changes I think that are coming, all good. You know, we such fans of Crossroads School, and we're kind of still newbies to community solutions, but excited to see what happens with that, and just over the moon to hear that some adult services are in the works because our Alex turns 18 next week. So we are looking ahead. But thank you and the board for just, I can't imagine the effort you undertook during the pandemic to get the strategic plan, you know, up and running, and yeah, just excited. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
So we also have a question from Dave Finnegan. So don't worry, everyone's coming out of the woodwork. You're not the one, Laura. Dave says that he's very excited. And he also wonders if do you have space procured for community solutions with adult services, or will it all be remote based?
Oh, no, it definitely won't be remote based. You know, we're hoping as the pandemic, it becomes more in our rear view mirror, we're going to be, you know, moving in the direction of in-person for almost everything we do, because I think we all recognize that for this population of folks, remote can be challenging, if not impossible in some cases. The securing of space for community solutions rests around center-based services at this point in time. The expansion of our home services doesn't require necessarily spaces, we know, but center-based services does. We're in process of looking at that as we speak. We also have additional space in Hudson that can be used for some capacity in that regard as well. Adult services will likely require additional space for us to secure in order to be able to be an adult service provider.
Great. Another question from Sue Valenti. When will there be updates to the strategic plan?
That's the same question we got yesterday. Great question. Periodically, we're going to review the strategic plan on an ongoing basis, at least every 3 months, every quarter, to determine, you know, how we're doing, what we need to improve upon, how we need to stay true to that strategic plan. Again, we view the strategic plan as really a blueprint for how we are going to move forward to accomplish what we all want to accomplish here.
Great. And I just want to say thank you. I echo Laura's sentiments. You know, this was, I'm sure, an unsurmountable task that you guys, you know, were trying to do during these difficult times. And I just want to really say thank you for all that you've done for my student. We've been at Crossroads for about 10 years now, and my son is turning 20. So, you know, we're approaching that point in our journey where we're starting to think about adult services. So I'm very excited to learn and to understand, you know, what the future holds in terms of adult services, because it would be amazing if Jake could continue on the continuum.
Yes, yes, that is certainly our goal here. You know, it's interesting because, you know, when I came on board, my understanding is there's been discussions about adult services for quite a while now. So from my perspective, that seems always to be low-hanging fruit here. So I'm really excited that people have wrapped their heads around this, and you know, it's my strong desire for us to move forward in that regard.
All right, and we have a comment from Jim Lamb on our Board of Trustees. Jim, you're muted, I think.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to see a brief comment on something that Mark mentioned but hasn't been brought up in the comments or questions, and that's those that are going to be at the beginning of the continuum, those newly diagnosed children. I still remember to this day when we found out MS diagnosis and how devastating that was, and there's such a need for family support, connecting families with families, and helping them navigate those first few years, because it's I'm not telling anybody who has autistic children or kids or adults at this point, but it's just, I think, a great addition for Crossroads, and will serve certainly as a very vigorous pipeline for our school and going on. So I think that may be one of the most impactful things that we do in this strategic plan.
Thank you, Jim, for that comment. I echo that.
I see that Priya, you're unmuted. I don't know if that was an accident or if you have a comment, but if you do, we'd love to hear it.
Jack, say adult services.
Hey guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I just joined. I'm sorry. So I probably missed a chunk of what was presented.
We will be sharing the recording with anybody who joined late. We recognize middle can be hard. So Priya, don't you worry. You will be able to watch the full recording and catch up on what you missed. And of course,
absolutely, I am excited to listen to it because I have been always probably pestering Kevin and everybody, like, when are you going to do the after 22 services, because that is what I'm more interested in, because I cannot see my daughter anywhere else functioning normally if she's out of Crossroads. So that worries me a lot.
Well, I think a large part of the community, echoes your sentiment, and I think that's really what's spearheaded our strong desire and plan to move forward with adult services. And by the way, you may have missed the presentation here, but the strategic plan, what we like the strategic plan, and thank you again to Savita Strategies for their role in this, is very readable. Not all strategic plans are readable. We believe that this one is very readable, and it really more than captures more than just the essence of what we want to do here.
I will add a comment from our Facebook community, and it is in all caps, "Get Jack back." So I think there's a sentiment around the adult services, both on the Zoom and on Facebook.
I'm guessing that's my wife.
Not even.
Sounds like a conspiracy here.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments? I think we're all very excited about the direction we're headed, and that you're all taking the time to be a part of this. Really tells us that we have the support that we need, and the partnership and all of you. So thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Kelly, may I ask one last question?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's the last question, but it's my last question. Mark, can you speak a little bit to, are there any plans to get a little bit more involved with either local schools or organizations? I'm thinking like Best Buddies, Special Olympics, anything like that. I know it might be early days thinking about that, but
yeah, no, I think that's no, it's a good question, Laura. We are involved with Best Buddies. Special Olympics. Excuse me. We are involved with that. Since my tenure began, 5 weeks before the pandemic hit, most of those kinds of activities have, been on pause. But we are involved with Special Olympics, the local chapter of Special Olympics, and really want to continue doing that. You mentioned schools. Did you have something specific in mind when you asked that question about schools, or was it more general?
More like just thinking about best buddies and either partnering with schools to get buddies to our students, or I mean, we're eligible to have Alex buddy up through our district, but would be open to Crossroads partnering with another high school locally or something like that. I don't know. My thoughts are really loose, but
No, I'm glad you brought that up. As you know, it's not necessarily part of our strategic plan, but with a strategic plan, that doesn't define everything that we're going to do over the next 3 years. One of the hallmarks of a good organization is to be nimble and flexible enough to respond to opportunities as they present themselves, or things that you didn't necessarily predict or anticipate. So something like that is absolutely something that we could take a closer look at moving forward.
And just to piggyback on Laura, Laura and I live in the same district. Hi, it's Leslie St. Jean. And both of our sons participate in our district's Best Buddy program, and it's been a very positive experience for our sons. What is difficult is they hold it right after school, and for them, it's 2:00. So the first year Joey was at Crossroads, I made it a point to bring him. Now all of his friends have graduated and they're off to college, so now I'm in, plus the pandemic.
Yes.
But we've both experienced the Best Buddies as far as they put on a prom, and it's, I can send you pictures. It is their typical peers with them. And it's a very, it's just a different feeling than Special Olympics. It's more of a peer on peer relationship. Would you agree, Laura?
Yeah, totally. And I was thinking of it under the umbrella of almost like community outreach, like if partnering with another high school, I'm just thinking like St. John's or like one of the private high schools in the area. Again, this is probably off topic, but
right,
broadly about ways to expand community outreach and programming. That would be something certainly I'll just speak for us and maybe Leslie too, but we'd be interested in that. And I'm curious about Special Olympics, because I didn't realize we had, I remember we have our one field day that we were going to, but I didn't realize that we were kind of, that Crossroads was really involved with Special Olympics. So I'd love to learn more about it.
Sure. No, I have two quick comments about both of those. One is Special Olympics. I don't think we've fully taken advantage. My understanding is historically, we haven't fully taken advantage of all the opportunities that Special Olympics provides. So I think that's something we could most certainly look at and probably should look at. Secondly, in terms of Best Buddies and what you're talking about, I think it's also consistent with what you describe is consistent with social integration, and that's a very important consideration. So I'm happy to talk more with both of you and whoever else would like to talk about in terms of Best Buddies, how we might be able to move that agenda forward.
And just to give you an idea, Mark, in Grafton, there's over 100 typical students that volunteer for probably 7 to 10. Would you agree, Laura? It's 7 to 10.
7 to 10 students,
individuals that qualify. So they have 100 students that are willing to participate and be Best Buddies for 7 kids.
It sounds like a win-win situation for sure. Our primary focus is our students and clients that we serve. But if we can at the same time, provide, non-disabled, typically developing individuals with opportunities like that, that's great too.
Maybe even a summer program when they're not in school over the summer, and something they may be willing to volunteer for.
Sure.
Just throwing some ideas out there. You know me and ideas, Mark.
Well, I love it.
We also have both Jills chimed in on the chat. Jill was thinking the same things that Laura and Leslie were thinking about. So great to hear. There's a lot of interest there. And Jill Duran says, "Bravo, the commitment is heartwarming."
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you to everybody that, because I know it breaks all your hearts as well as ours when our students in your community turns 22. I've seen many tears by staff on a day that a child is turning 22. Not only because they're going to miss them, but they're concerned for them, and the fact that you are all stepping forward for our community is just amazing. So thank you.
All right, I'm not seeing anything else in the comments. And you know, as Marcus said, the strategic plan isn't done just because we've released it. We're going to be working on it. We're going to be communicating those updates, the progress that we're making as Crossroads Continuum. So this isn't the last town hall that we'll be doing either, but the communication goes both ways. So if you have those questions, if you have those comments, we definitely want to hear them. You know how to reach us, and we are very excited about the future ahead. So Mark, you want to wrap us up?
I sure can. I hope that the next town hall we do, or sometime in the very near future, we can do it more in person. This remote environment is a necessary one, but it loses some of the personal touch that I really like, and hopefully that's the same for all of you as well. Again, I'm going to sound redundant here, but I can't thank you all enough for not only spending your time this afternoon with us as we unveil the strategic plan and our change of our name of our organization, but also for everything that you do for us. We cannot do what we do without all of you. And for that, I and Crossroads Continuum, thank you.